We have the power. Hey guys, Jay. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Master of the Universe Day, everybody. Holy crap. I woke up this morning and just got flooded with a whole bunch of different feeds and posts and pretty much everything under the sun that said Happy Master of the Universe Day. And to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't really even realize that this was Master of the Universe Day. Who makes up these holidays anyway? I mean, it's absolutely crazy, right? But I love it. And the reason I don't really know about Master of the Universe Day is because every day is Masters of the Universe Day for me. I mean, I think you guys know that. I live, breathe, eat, sleep. Masters of the Universe, He-Man and the Master of the Universe, She-Ra, the Evil Horde, New Adventures He-Man, pretty much everything that you can think of. I'm in love with He-Man. Seriously, I am in love with him. I'm not afraid to say that either. Seriously, though, happy Masters of the Universe Day to everybody who celebrates it. And this being a very auspicious occasion, I wanted to take a little bit of a look back at my very first video covering Masters of the Universe and how I discovered Masters of the Universe as a child. A lot of you have already seen this, but judging from the numbers, not a ton of you have seen this. So I actually don't feel that bad reposting this in a sort of way so that you guys can share in my first experience for Masters of the Universe. And don't be alarmed when you don't see all this white hair on my face, because it's just part of the whole experience. Guys, without further ado, this is my first video covering the Masters of the Universe. Let's have a look. Stop me if you've heard this one. A prince with a magic sword transforms into a barbarian in a loincloth to fight an evil from a different universe who has a yellow skull for a face and blue skin. Yep, we're going to be talking about Masters of the Universe.
By the power of Grayskull!
By the power of Eternia? By the power of Grayskull!
By the power of Grayskull!
By the power of Grayskull!
One of my favorite memories growing up as a kid was playing with my cousins. Being an immigrant back then, my cousins had already been here for several years. I was really only able to visit them on the weekends. One particularly rainy weekend, while my mom was visiting her sister, my cousin Bill decided to show me the toys that he'd received for his birthday. I remember playing with his Mr. Potato Head, some of the Tonka toys, and even his favorite Care Bear, Tenderheart. After playing with toys that Bill had lying around, he wanted to show me something a little different. So we wandered over to his brother John's room. Immediately, my eyes were drawn to this strange skull shape on the top shelf. It was green and had this ominous look about it. I remember asking John intrepidly, "What is that?" And he sort of slyly mentioned that it's not really for younger kids. But I was so intrigued by this shape that I really begged him to find out what it was. Eventually, John brought it down. And the first time ever, I was able to lay my hands on Castle Grayskull. I don't even know why they call this thing Grayskull. It's green. It's menacing, frightening, and I gotta tell you, as a 5-year-old kid in 1982, it really was the one thing I always wanted to have. I remember it standing about waist high to me. It was one of the biggest playsets I'd ever seen in my life. The eyes were pretty much spray painted black, along with its nose and some of its teeth. The jaw bridge had teeth engraved into it, molars, and a tongue right in the middle of it. It was crazy. It had a trapdoor, it had an elevator, laser cannons, a flag which depicted whether you were on the good side or the evil side. It was just madness. You gotta remember, this is 1982, I think, and I'd never seen anything like this. There was no cartoon background. There was nothing to show me what these characters were. All I saw were these incredible looking action figures, about 5.5 inches tall, I think, and they were just sculpted so amazingly. They had this little squat pose, and the muscles and just detail that was in these figures was out of this world. You had characters like He-Man, who was this brute. Obviously, he was a barbarian type character with his loincloth, his fuzzy boots, and these big straps that were just covering what little they could of his muscles. It was really incredible. He had this sword. It was a gray piece of plastic, but it looked amazing. He also had an axe and a shield. You really couldn't get much better than that in terms of an action figure physique. Then you had someone like Skeletor. I mean, come on, I was 5, 6 years old, and he had a skull for a face. Come on, a skull for a face. It was yellow and had these different shades on purple and yellow highlights. His head was shrouded in this hood, and the rest of his body was very similar to He-Man's, except he had these different shapes upon them. His fingers were a little bit sharper, he had fins on his forearms, and he had webbed feet. So you knew that these two characters were polar opposites of each other. Definitely one on the good light side and one on the darker evil side. It was really that dynamic, which set up the whole paradigm of what would become the Masters of the Universe.
What do we have here?
It's Castle Grayskull.
You have to put the castle together.
Beastman's escaping.
The throne, Dad. Dad, you saved the castle.
Castle Grayskull from the Masters of the Universe collection.
Now today, we have all these things where people have comic books to go back to, cartoons to look at, and remember the storylines that were associated with He-Man and the Master Universe. But back in the day, the only thing we had to go by were these tiny little mini comics that came with each figure. Of course, by the time I got my hands on these figures, which were owned by my cousins, they had pretty much lost these comics long ago, probably right after they opened them up on their birthdays. They didn't remember what the story was. We had to make this stuff up as we went along. The only thing they could barely remember were the names of the characters. He-Man, Skeletor, Battle-Cat, Panther, and in a lot of ways, sometimes we just made up names. You know, like the one character who was a female, we named her Warrior Princess. Yeah, there was just so many different things that we could do because we couldn't remember everything. So we ended up making our own storyline. Our imaginations really brought us from one place to another. Luckily for us, the characters were so different and brightly colored and had this mystique about them.
23 pieces, each sold separately. There's He-Man and these heroic action figures. Skeletor and the Warriors of Evil, and 4 fighting creatures. Castle Grayskull, Point Dread, and the Talon Fighter. You put them together.
Like most family in the 80s, we really didn't have that much money. So my parents couldn't always get me toys whenever I wanted to. But sometimes around Christmas, they would sometimes splurge and get me a few toys. So they paid attention whenever I was screaming at the TV or running to the Wilco aisles looking for these toys. My dad and my mom that Christmas picked up Battle-Cat, He-Man, Skeletor, and Teela. This was amazing, and I couldn't have been more happy. I was so excited with these toys. I wish I could show you my He-Man figure. Unfortunately, sometime when I was a teenager, he kind of exploded. His neck had pretty much broken off of its peg, and it's probably one of my fault because I used to remove his head all the time. And yeah, I lost one of his arms. It was not a good scene. My Battle-Cat, unfortunately, also suffered a similar fate, as you'll see in these pictures that I'm going to show you now. He pretty much is in 4 pieces. I still have them, but he's definitely not playable at all. Luckily, last year, I was able to actually find a new Battle-Cat, so I was really happy to be able to find this guy. It brings back so many different memories. The other figures which I received were Skeletor. This is my original Skeletor, and he's held up over the years, actually. Way better than He-Man ever did. He's got some bite marks here. I don't know what is it with kids. We used to bite things a lot when we were younger. I don't get it. But he's got a few bite marks here. But other than that, he's pretty much in good shape. I still have his original attachment here for the waist. He's still got his original straps. They haven't been wrecked in any way. He's actually survived quite a bit. And his face has pretty much stayed intact as well. I'm actually very, very happy about that. Another toy which I received that year was Teela. And she was, of course, was one of the only females in the line. And she used to come with a cobra head dress. I've since lost that a long time ago. Mainly because I remember her in the cartoon looking very much like this without the actual cobra headdress. So I preferred her this way. Looking back at it now, I would love to have that cobra headdress. It just looks so amazing looking at the pictures that I used to have. Eventually, I would get more toys along the line, including Man-at-Arms and Man-E-Faces. This line would continue for many, many more years, and I would collect many toys along the way. I wish I could show you each and every one of them, but unfortunately, whether it be the test of time or basically just me giving them away or selling them or trading them away, most of my collection's gone. And these few toys, some of the originals that I had when I was a kid, are some of the most cherished memories. And I'm holding on to these guys so that I can show my kids one day. Then there were the vehicles, including the Battle Ram. Oh my god. This used to come with firing torpedoes. It separates in the middle for a sky sled. This was an incredible toy, and the sculpting is top-notch. You really couldn't get much better than Masters of the Universe in 1982.
Even a one-armed army can't stop He-Man and Battle Cat. You win this time, He-Man!
Well guys, I hope you enjoyed my look back at my Masters of the Universe toy collection. It's been many years since I've been able to talk about this, and I really do hold the Masters of the Universe toys in my heart. I really want to continue this series, and my next episode on it will be with the Filmation version of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, one of my all-time favorite cartoon series. I hope you guys will look forward to that, and we'll see you next time. Oh man, 4 years ago. Holy crap, think about that. It was 4 years ago to that day, almost to this day. Surprisingly, like I was actually really shocked that I looked back on the date that this was posted, and it's only a few days away from when I from today. Like I think it was April 7th, something like that. So I wasn't around the time of Master Universe Day, 4 years ago. So not bad, Jay, not bad. And seeing that, young man, much younger man anyway, talking about Master Universe and his first experience, wow. And it really hasn't changed much. I'm still in awe with Master Universe and so grateful that it has come back to us in one form or another. And Master Universe Origins continues to surprise and awe and inspire. As a matter of fact, multiple posts from multiple different creators, multiple different fans, multiple different companies today celebrating Master Universe are all just warming my heart. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this look back at my very first Masters of the Universe video, and I want to wish each and every one of you a happy Masters of the Universe Day. If you enjoyed this episode, guys, please do leave a like. It really does help me out. 20s continues in 2025, everybody. And speaking of Masters of the Universe, I covered the Hurricane Hordak, which was released last week. You can take a look at that video right here, and I'll see you guys there. We have the power, everybody. We have the power. And the Master Universe continues to live on in fans' hearts now and into the future. Good journey, everybody. Geek proud.